Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of G Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. It is April 22nd, 2020, and today is the last day of year 3. So I started a new playlist, and I named it Year 4 Off the Grid. And this video will be the first one posted to it, since tomorrow will be the first day starting the new year of living off the grid in the desert. So you'll have a whole new playlist with a whole bunch of new stuff on there. And hopefully I could get into Home Depot. I stopped there today when I went into town and picked up chicken feed and diatomaceous earth and things like that. And diatomaceous earth, for those of you who don't know, you put it in with your chicken feed or mix it in with your chicken feed, and that helps deworm chickens. All chickens get worms. So you want to put diatomaceous earth in with their chicken feed, and it helps keep them from getting worms. It keeps them healthy. Also, mix some of it into their areas where they take their dust baths, where they dig a hole and they get in there and throw dirt over them. Throw a cupful or two into that and mix it into the soil. So when they're throwing that soil over them, it'll help kill mites and things like that get onto under the feathers of the chickens. That's why they take their dust bath in the first place, but you'll make it more efficient if you add diatomaceous earth to that. And you can use that diatomaceous earth for fleas on dogs and cats and things like that. It won't hurt animals. Just don't let them breathe too much of the dust when you're doing that. Try to keep the dust down, and you too, don't breathe the dust. It's not good to get that into your lungs. So anyway, I stopped at Home Depot while I was out, and the line went around the parking lot, so I said, the heck with that, I'll go back at another time. Said I want to get some lumber and get started on a modification of that chicken coop. Remember, I'm going to turn that into a walk-in coop, so I got to close in the bottom. I've got to cut a door into the back of it, a man door to go in. I've got to add a gutter up there on the roof so that if it's raining, I can go out there and get into the coop without taking a Niagara Falls shower as I'm doing it. So yeah, I want to get started on that. I need some 2x4s and some plywood and things like that to get going. And I figured if it's another beautiful day like it was today, tomorrow, and I can get some materials on site, I'd like to get that started. And I can let Nellie and Brewster out into the run and close their door so I can open up the side doors and get things modified or get things going to be modified. And once I've got a door on the back of that and the bottom closed in, then I'd be able to walk directly into the back coop, and I could do more work on the inside while they're running around outside. All right, so when I was coming back from my neighbors, because I picked up some DE and some mealyworms for their chickens, and I delivered their wacko weed. Well, I saw these flowers growing on the side of the road. Nice purple flowers, and they're kind of wilted right now because they took a little shock from the move in that. Then I'm hoping that they'll come back. I got purple ones on this side and light purple with white on the other side. And these are called Mojave Woody Aster. And they're of the aster family, so they are very invasive, and they will take over a whole field. But that's okay because they're flowers, and flowers bring bees around. And bees are good for our gardens and plants and things like that, so why not, right? So I figured I'd give it a try and see what I could do with them. And if they die, then they just end up, probably don't want to put them in the compost because that could really ruin a garden if these things took over in a garden like a weed. So maybe I'll just, if they all die off, I'll just throw them in the fire pit and burn them up. All right, so the weather today was 82 degrees it topped out at, and it was calm all day. The winds just started a little while ago, And as you can see up there, it's really kicking out some electricity on the turbine, or the PMA. And yes, some people have just seen my videos on describing the difference between a PMA and a PMG. One is AC and one is DC. But anyway, I've got a question that I want to answer for EK. How you doing out there, EK? Welcome aboard. And he was talking about why not, with my dump load, why not put the diversion to heat a hot water tank for hot water. Okay, well, that was originally my plan, and you'll probably find a video back in there about my hot water heater that I made out of a 20-gallon plastic barrel, and I put a 12 volt by 300 watt heating element into it and got it set up so it was two of them tied together, one hot water, one cold water, so that I could have a hot water, cold water mix outside shower. All right, so why don't I do that? Well, the number one reason is that the math doesn't add up. It's a great idea in your head when you first think about it. And like I said, I did think about it, and I was thinking, oh, great, I'm going to have free hot water. Well, guess what? I'm in the desert. In the summertime, I don't need hot water. Okay? The sun heats up my solar shower, my outside shower. You've seen that in other videos. It heats it up to a point where I actually have to add cold water to it to try to cool myself down a little bit. It's too hot. It'll burn you when you get under it. Because, you know, it gets 106, 107 on a normal out here, and I've seen it at 113 and 116. So, yeah, the water gets too hot, so I don't need it during the summer at all. And then, wintertime. Well, I have a tankless propane water heater in the cabin. Okay, so the tankless propane water heater only uses propane when you turn the hot water on. It doesn't have any pilot light or anything like that. It's an electronic ignition unit that works off of a D-cell battery. We turn water on, you get hot water. You turn water off, no propane is flowing. So I've got perfect hot water control using that. And the other reason is, okay, that is a KT5 PMA up there. It's an AC 3-wire unit, and it produces a maximum output of 1,685 watts. But in order to produce that much, it actually has to be spinning at 90 miles an hour. Okay? So, as it is, inside of here, I've shown it before where I've got my dump load set up, and the dump load goes to a heating element on the wall. That's a 100-watt heating element. Now remember, I said the hot water heater unit uses a 300-watt element. So when my batteries get over 14.2 here, when the wind is blowing really fast, say 45, 50, 60 mile an hour winds, I'm putting out really high wattage on that PMA. And my solar panels are close to 2 kilowatt, and they're putting out power to my batteries. Well, the batteries reach a float area at 14.2 by, I'd say 8:30 in the morning. And with the wind blowing, it goes over that, and then the excess is dumped onto that heating element and just warms up the battery room inside here. Well, I'm not going to open that right now because there's no need to, and I have the door locked and I don't have my keys with me. So anyway, the point is that the math does not add up. Maybe 2 or 3 times a year, I've seen the dump load kick on and the heat go to the 100-watt heating element. And that goes on there for probably, maybe an hour tops, okay? So that's 100 watts. 300 watts would probably be about, figure what, 20 minutes? So 20 minutes of heat, electricity going to a 20-gallon hot water tank with a 300-watt heating element in it is not going to give me a heck of a lot of hot water. And then when it shuts off and there's a lull between there, that hot water is going to cool off. So it's not going to be a very efficient hot water heater unit. Maybe in some other areas where they have 40, 50, 60 mile an hour winds constant, that'd be a different story. But here, it's a whole different story. I get high winds, but they come and they go. They come and they go. And the average of the winds are around between 20 and 30 miles per hour. So that thing up there is putting out 300, maybe 400 watts at that speed, at that wind speed. And that's enough to keep my batteries charged, especially if it's overcast and my solar is not doing anything. But it's not enough to kick on the dump load while still charging batteries and send 300 watts to heat water. So like I said, the math doesn't add up. It's something that I learned the hard way. I had these ideas of grandeur of having free hot water way back when I was first planning this. But when I got out here, I learned the difference. I also learned the difference about ratings on PMAs and PMGs. When it's rated at 1685 watts with a maximum speed to where it stalls, it can't go any faster, of 90 miles per hour, it means you're not going to get a 1685 watts unless you're going 90 miles an hour. So that's just the way they do this thing. So it's kind of misleading when you go online and you say, I'm going to get me a 500 watt PMA. Well, a 500 watt PMA is rated for, say, 60 mile an hour top winds. So to get 500 watts, you've got to be doing 60 mile winds. And if you're getting 60 mile an hour winds all day long, you've got a hurricane on the way. Like I said, math doesn't add up. So no, it's not worth the time and the effort. A tankless water heater is the best way to go. I've got one from Marey, M-A-R-E-Y. Bought it through Home Depot. And it's just enough for a little cabin like mine. Like I said, I get hot water when I turn the valve, any of the faucets on. And when I shut the faucet off, there's no hot water and there's no propane usage. So it goes a long way. And in the wintertime, I've seen a couple of times where the water doesn't get scalding hot for a super hot shower, but I still can take a comfortable shower. The water is lukewarm, but that's because it's, 20 degrees outside. The water coming down from my big water tank up there has been sitting in 20-degree temperatures. So yeah, that's one problem. All right, so real quick, I'm going to finish this off with a quick trip down here to the garden house. I was in here today because I got some corn seeds in and I have to keep those moist. And with the winds blowing every afternoon, of course, the topsoil dries out quickly. And as you can see, I just watered this an hour ago and you can see it's already starting to dry out. But it's been dampened and that's fine. So I've got a lot of corn to put into the ground yet, but that's all going to come up here on this end and then move on down the line with the ones that are planted seeds right in the soil, so that the tallest ones are on the afternoon side and the youngest ones are on the morning side getting the morning sun. That's a cantaloupe coming up right there. So yeah, I got some cantaloupes coming up. But what I wanted to really show you was this grapevine. And I was in here with my neighbor a couple of days ago when we were talking, and I looked down, I went, oh my God, look at that. There's a couple of little clusters of grapes coming out on there already. Yep, so I've got grapes on this thing. Look at this. There's another one right there, another cluster of grapes. And there's another one up there at the top. So, hey, might have some grapes this year. Cool. Yep, just loving it. All right, my carrots, everything is really good, doing well. Having no problem with anything growing here. I got, I still don't know what these are. If you're watching Aurora, or Chris. These were volunteers. I found them in those pots over there. I'm not sure what they are. And if you do know, if you recognize them, I've got 3 of them here, 3 different sizes. Let me know. I also found this little grapevine in there, and it's starting to show some leaves and life. There's another one I don't know what it is, and there's another one I don't know what it is. Those are volunteers that were in these pots along with everything else. So I'm sure they're seeds that were in your compost. So it's something that you ate, threw the remnants into your compost, and seeds started up. I got something else coming up over here too. I'm not sure what it is. And I've got some broadleaf something down here. That's a desert plant. It's growing in the desert soil. Who knows, but the chickens love them. So anyway, these are my bush beans. They're growing and almost doubling in size every day. So I've got to have plenty of beans. And there's my tangelo plants that I grew from seed. They're liking it out here, and so are my broccolis, and my strawberries are looking real healthy. Yep, going to be a great year for munching out here. I'm not sure what these volunteers are, but I'll find out down the line. Little grapevine here doing well. Tomato plants, the baby there, and the big brother over here. I've got tomatoes in there. Yes, sir, there are tomatoes on this plant. They're green yet, but coming up. And like I said, my cauliflower is growing really fast. That doubled in size since the last video. This one's still a baby, but that's good. This one I'll eat, and this one will grow up in a couple of weeks behind it, and I could eat that one. Using cauliflower instead of potatoes, or mixing them with potatoes and making mashed potatoes with them, it's healthier and it's delicious. I learned that from my friend Vince. All right, that's about it. I just wanted to cover that. Oh, one other thing. I did notice that on here, this is a pear tree, and there's some baby pears already set on this. So yep, I'm gonna have pears too. There's one right there. The leaves have fallen off the flowers or the petals, and it's set fruit on it. There's a couple here I showed my neighbor the other day that, oh God, they were about the size of small marble, I guess. So I can't find them right now, and I don't want to go any longer. We're already at 18 minutes. I'm going to say G-Bear, reminding you to give me a thumbs up down there. And don't forget to join me on year 4 here. We're going to have some fun and some excitement, and we'll just get it done, right? G-Bear signing off.